Assalamu alaikum. Student, my name is Dr. Kaman Abbas Naqvi. Today I am going to discuss about important topic production set. This topic is basically based on advanced microeconomic theory, and particularly I am recommended for this video to the student of PhD and MS. So now I'm try to explain what is production sets and what are the properties of the production sets, which will be helpful to understand the language of the books, particularly Masculine and Rainy and Jelly. So now we start. Suppose we have a L dimension commodity space. Okay, and L dimension commodity space. So we assume here y1, y2, yl. This is a commodity vector, commodity vector of inputs and output. What does it mean? In this commodity vector, we have inputs and outputs, and inputs and outputs are choice variable, and we try to explain in the dimension of L space. First of all, we consider this is a four-dimensional space or four quadrant of space, and we name it commodity space. Here we assume, for example, as you know that this is y1, if we keep here, will be positive. Similarly, this one y1 will be negative as per definition of four quadrant, and here y2 will be positive, and similarly here you will have minus y2. So this is four-dimensional commodity space. In this four-dimensional commodity space, we know that in this quadrant both are positive, means x1 sorry y1 and y2 both are positive, and vice versa here both are negative. And similarly in this quadrant x is negative, y is positive, and vice versa x is positive and y is negative. And this is our origin. By the definition of input and output choice vector, we know that we always discuss about a real number space, means ke we defined a vector space over the field of real number. This is our constraint, or this is our compulsion, because in economics we never discuss about the negative numbers or field of complex number or field of negative real number. So we focus only towards the positive real number. In this condition, we can say that this commodity vector belongs to positive real number in L dimensional space. Now to distinguish which one is input, which one is output, as per standard criteria in the books, we mark negative sign with inputs and positive sign for output in commodity choice factor to distinguish, means that these are our inputs and these are our outputs. So what we can take this, we can define this one. V is a set of commodity choice factor. For example, y1 comma plus y2. For example, it means this this is represent inputs vector, input vector, and this represent output vector. Take another example in the form of the numbers. V is a vector which consists of 1, 2, -1, -2, and +1. That belongs to real number. What does it means? These are two inputs. These are two inputs. And this one is output. Now we try to explain this output and input in these four quadrants. First of all, if we select a point here and we mark, for example, y bar, this y bar consists of y1 and y2. And consider here, because both are positive, so y1 is marked positive, y2 marked positive. So by this definition of input and output vector, in this y bar we both are output, there is no input. Similarly, if we point this y bar in this quadrant, it consists of, means y1 is negative, similarly y2 is positive. What does it means? There is one input which is y1 and y2 consider as output. Similarly, in this quadrant, if we mark y bar, y2, y1 is positive and y2 is negative. So what does it mean? This one is represented, yani this is y1 represent output and similarly y2 represent input. And in this quadrant, y bar has minus y1 and minus y2. What does it mean? Both are inputs in this y bar. Now there is another definition of production sets and production plan. There is technical difference. What is the technical difference between production sets and production plan? The technical difference is that a production plan may be infeasible or feasible. What does it mean? Feasible production plan. For example, let's say there is no possibility of output without utilizing any inputs. It means that you don't have inputs. Input means in term of labor, in term of capital, entrepreneur and the length. These are factor of production and multiple inputs you have. If you don't have any single inputs, you cannot produce output. So this kind of the production plan is infeasible production plan. And similarly, another kind of the production plan is feasible production plan, which consists of some inputs and some output. It means output can be produced by utilizing of some input. And now there is possibility you have inputs but you are not able to produce output. So in this condition you are inefficient, but it is feasible part of production plan. So if the production plan is feasible, so this production plan is called production sets. So now we can explain this one. So in economics or the in books, we plan represented by small y and production set represented by capital Y to distinguish between plan and set. This is feasible only and it may be feasible and infeasible. So it means production plan has two nature of product properties. Either it is feasible or it is infeasible. In case of the production sets, we discuss about only the feasible parts of the production plan. Now look at this one. Here you have some inputs and output. It means that this is a part of feasible production plan. So we can say that it is equal to capital Y, right? Or we can write here, this is a part of production plan which belongs to production set. That belongs to production set because we utilize here two inputs and get one output. Now similarly, in this condition, for example, just a minute. Let's say V equal to plus 1 and plus 2. it is belongs to positive real number that is equal to, for example, production plan, but that production plan does not belongs to production sets. Now it is clear. In this vector, we have two outputs, plus 1, plus 2. And this output belongs to positive real number and it is equal to production plan, but that production plan does not belongs to capital Y. It means it does not belongs to production set. So this is infeasible part of production set. So student, now I think it is clear what is production set, what is production plan, how you can distinguish between production plan and production sets, what is commodity space. Commodity space, I just recall it. Commodity space is consist of inputs and output choice factor, and we try to explain out input and output choice factor between four dimensional space or in four quadrant, and first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. And the by definition of the mathematics, we know that in the first quadrant, all are x1 and x2 both are positive, or y1 and y2 both are positive, and so on. So it means if we discuss this quadrant, so this quadrant is not the part of our production set. Why? Here you have both output. There is no input in this quadrant. So it means that this quadrant is not the feasible part of production set. So it means that this is infeasible and not belong to Y. So we are rejecting here this one. So this quadrant is rejected. Similarly, this is feasible or not? So this is feasible. Why? Here you have one input, another output. So it means that this is feasible and belong to Y. So we take here a this quadrant is the part of production set. Similarly, now this one, okay, this one is both are inputs. So now in the production plan, you may have both inputs, but there is no output. So it is possible. It means that you are considered as inefficient. So in this condition, this part of quadrant is selected feasible with zero output. And similarly, this is vice versa. One output, one input. Again, I selected this one. This is feasible and belong to Why? So now I just closed my lecture here, and we will complete in coming lecture. Okay, what is properties of the production set? What are the properties of the production set? And how you plot production set in this in these four quadrant. So our production set will plot between these three quadrant, this one, and this one. Now we have concluded here. Similarly, we have concluded one important thing. In case of commodity choice vectors, negative sign is represented input choice factor to just distinguish with output, and output represented by positive value, although all the values belongs to positive real number, because technically input never be negative, it cannot be negative, but to distinguish with output we just mention here with negative sign, with minus, or output mentioned with positive sign. So student, thank you so much to listen me, and tomorrow we will cover the remaining part of this lecture. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.